I was standing in baggage claim at Denver International Airport when I saw him, my husband of 6 years, the man who was supposed to be in a conference room in Chicago right now. But he wasn't in Chicago. He was here, 30 feet away from me, with his arm wrapped around a very pregnant woman I'd never seen before in my life. And the way he was touching her stomach, protective, intimate, loving, made me want to vomit right there on the airport floor. I'm going to tell you exactly how I discovered my husband's double life. And trust me, what I did about it, he never saw it coming. My name is Jessica, and I thought I had a pretty good marriage. Not perfect, whose is, but solid. Ryan was a sales director for a tech company, which meant he traveled a lot. 3, sometimes 4 weekends a month, he'd pack his carry-on and head to client meetings in Chicago, Seattle, Portland. He'd been doing it for 3 years. Ever since he got promoted, the money was great. The bonus structure was incredible, and I trusted him completely. We'd been together since college. He was my first real relationship, and honestly, I never questioned him. Why would I? He called every night from his hotel. He'd text me photos of his meals, screenshots of boring PowerPoint slides, complaints about delayed flights. He even video called me from hotel lobbies. It all seemed so normal, so routine, so real. We had our Friday night ritual. I'd drive him to the airport, we'd kiss goodbye at departures, and he'd promise to bring me back something from whatever city he was visiting. A coffee mug, a local chocolate bar, stupid tourist stuff that made me smile. Then Sunday night, I'd pick him up and we'd get Thai food on the way home while he complained about how exhausting the trip was. I fell for it. For 3 entire years, I fell for it. The cracks started small. Little things I explained away because I loved him, and trust doesn't die overnight. It bleeds out slowly. Like when I noticed he'd started putting a passcode on his phone. When I asked about it, he said his company required it for security after a data breach. Made sense. Or when he began doing his own laundry. Just his travel clothes, he said, because he didn't want to burden me with the extra load. How considerate, right? Then there was the weekend he came home with a hickey on his collarbone. I saw it when he got out of the shower. He laughed it off, said he'd burned himself with a curling iron at the hotel gym. A curling iron at a gym. I remember lying in bed that night thinking, that doesn't make sense, but I pushed it down, because acknowledging it meant acknowledging something I wasn't ready to face. The unraveling started 3 months ago when my college roommate Emma texted me out of the blue. She lived in Denver now, worked for an airline. Her message was simple. Hey, weird question, but does Ryan travel to Denver a lot? I swear I just saw him at DIA. I told her no, he goes to Chicago mostly. She sent back a shrugging emoji and said she must have been mistaken. But it planted something in my mind. A seed of doubt that grew roots. 2 weeks later, I did something I never thought I'd do. I logged into our credit card account, the one we shared, the one he used for business expenses that got reimbursed. I told myself I was just checking our points balance. But I wasn't. I scrolled through months of charges, and there they were. Dozens of purchases in Denver. Restaurants in Denver, a grocery store in Denver, a charge at a Target in Denver for $237. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped my laptop. I cross-referenced the dates with his calendar. Every single Chicago trip, he'd been in Denver instead. For 3 years, every other weekend, my husband had been flying to Denver while I dropped him off at the airport and picked him up like an idiot. But that wasn't even the worst part. I created a fake Facebook profile that night, searched for his name plus Denver, and I found her. Megan. 31 years old, elementary school teacher. Her profile was public, and I scrolled through 2 years of photos that destroyed me piece by piece. Ryan at her apartment, Ryan hiking with her in the mountains, Ryan kissing her at a brewery, Ryan celebrating her birthday with a cake that said, "To my love." And then 3 weeks ago, a photo of her holding a positive pregnancy test with the caption, "Our greatest adventure starts February 2025. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I sat on my bathroom floor until 4 in the morning, planning exactly what I was going to do. That Friday, I drove Ryan to the airport just like always. I kissed him goodbye. I watched him walk through the sliding doors with his carry-on and his lies. And then I went home, packed a bag, and booked myself a flight to Denver on a different airline. I told Emma everything. She picked me up from the airport, and we parked ourselves in baggage claim on Sunday afternoon, waiting. I knew his flight number. I knew when he'd land. And at 3:47 p.m., I watched my husband walk through those doors with his pregnant girlfriend, looking happier than I'd ever seen him look with me. That's the moment I described earlier. The moment my entire life inverted. He didn't see me at first. I stood there frozen, while Emma gripped my arm so tight it bruised. And then Megan laughed at something he said, and he kissed the top of her head, and something inside me just snapped into crystal clarity. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Then I walked right up to them. "Hey, honey," I said. The look on his face, I will never forget it. Pure, absolute terror. He went white, actually white. Megan looked confused, looking between us, and I just smiled. "I'm Jessica," I said to her, my voice steady as steel. "Ryan's wife? Looks like we have a lot to talk about." And what I did next? Most people told me I'd gone too far, but I don't regret a single second. I didn't cause a scene in the airport. I'm not that person. Instead, I looked at Megan and said, "He's been married to me for 6 years. Every weekend he told me he was in Chicago for work. I have the marriage certificate in my purse if you'd like to see it." Then I turned to Ryan and said, "I've already filed for divorce. The papers are being served to your office tomorrow. And I sent that video I just took to your boss with a detailed breakdown of every fraudulent expense report you filed. Enjoy." Then I walked away. Emma and I went to a bar, and I finally cried. But they weren't sad tears anymore. They were relief. Turns out Megan had no idea he was married either. He'd told her he was divorced, that his ex-wife was crazy, that he traveled for work but Denver was his home base now. She'd been just as deceived as I was. She called me 2 days later, sobbing. We talked for 3 hours. I didn't blame her. She was a victim too. She ended things with him immediately. Ryan lost his job within a week. Falsifying expense reports for personal travel is fraud, and his company didn't play games. He tried calling me 63 times. I blocked him after message number 12, which was him screaming about how I'd ruined his life. I'm pretty sure he managed that all on his own. The divorce was final in 4 months. I got the house, the car, and half his 401k. He's currently living with his parents and paying child support to Megan, who decided to keep the baby but wants nothing to do with him romantically. Last I heard, he's working at a call center and drives for Uber on weekends. I'm still healing. Some days are harder than others. I'll see a couple at the airport, and my chest will tighten. But mostly, I feel free. I bought new furniture. I painted the bedroom teal. I adopted a dog named Walter who sleeps on what used to be Ryan's side of the bed. If you're watching this and something feels off in your relationship, trust that feeling. Your gut knows before your heart is ready to accept it. You are not paranoid. You are not crazy. And you deserve so much better than someone who makes you question your own reality. I'm not grateful for what Ryan did to me, but I am grateful I found out when I did, before I wasted another year, another decade on someone who saw me as the obstacle to his real life. If this story resonated with you, subscribe. I share a new story every single week. And drop a comment below if you've ever been betrayed by someone you completely trusted. You are not alone, and you will get through this.